morning, everyone. This is Julie McDonald with Microcom Technologies, and I'd like to thank all of you for attending today's webinar with Fanvil. Today's host is Tommy Lee, and he is their Vice President of Sales in North America, and he'll be presenting today. If anyone has any questions, please submit them in the question box, and I'll ask Tommy those questions at the end of today's presentation. Tommy, I am finished for now. Thank you very much for being with us today. Please go ahead and take it on over.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Julie, and thank you everyone for your attendance as well, and I appreciate your time. What I want to bring out today is really a brand new product introduction that came out from Fanvil. As many of you have known for Fanvil, we are an endpoint SIP endpoint provider, and we're introducing a brand new product which I think is going to open up a lot of the voids that we've been having in a lot of the endpoints. So what I want to do today is give you a brief overview of our new iSeries SIP indoor stations. What is this? As you note from looking at the photo above, it's really an indoor station that gives you a lot of the flexibility of what was once known from our business phones into really a flat panel design. And what do we mean by that? What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and actually show you not only are these buttons and shows the display, but it also reveals its ability to be able to show you many of the different audio as well as visual, and in addition to some controllability of you being able to check out alarms, do things like open relays and things like that from this one panel. Anyways, without much ado, let's go ahead and get started. These things are really targeted for multi-dwelling units, hospitality environments, or even office buildings for that matter. As I dig in a little bit deeper, you're going to understand that this product really does introduce a lot of flexibility with a very simple interface. So what I'm going to do is just give you a brief product overview, highlight some of the features, and go over a real brief overview of its specific applications. Again, if you have any questions, I'll stay on as long as you want to answer any particular questions you have following this webinar. Without much ado, let's go ahead and get started. What I want to bring forth is that we have really 4 separate units that are coming out. And it's really called the i5X or 551, 52, 53, and then 56A. What's available today is really the i51 through i53. And what this does, it really provides you the ability to be able to see many of the video cameras that are being displayed outside either of your office building or perhaps even your own home, or more likely in a high-rise condominium or apartment. You might also have cameras that monitor the outside, but you also need something on the inside of your home or your office that displays cues visually of who you want to be able to allow entering the door, but at the same time give you a very simple interface. In many applications, a classic phone interface isn't necessarily the most aesthetically pleasing inside your apartment or perhaps inside your office, for this particular application. So we developed an IP endpoint that really suits this need and gives you all of the basic interfaces that you see here. Now, the differences between the 51 and 52, this is really a fixed screen display so that you can really manipulate these 5 buttons that you see below here, which I'll explain in a future slide moving forward. But the 53 that we also have is a touch screen. And if you notice some of the deeper details, you're also able to provide a room number on there, or a particular house number, or a direct dial located right on the screen itself. So if you wanted to contact a separate home or number, you could just contact this. And assuming that the system that it's connected to is connected to the outside internet, then you can make a DID call. If, on the other hand, it's a closed system that's confined inside the apartment or the condominium, then it gives you the ability to call the front desk or the lobby person, etc., to give you quick access outside of what the standard phone interface would be. Now, all of these things really do give you lots of things that many people who deploy phones with a lot of caution, not a caution, but being careful. You have not only just a thing, but it also has built-in Wi-Fi. As you know, one of the things that if you have a Wi-Fi system, you can actually connect all of 4 of these systems onto a Wi-Fi environment, of which if you have a Wi-Fi merge with 2.4 and 5G, you can actually connect the i56 to both of these systems. If you work with the i53 and below, you're limited to the 2.4 gig, the giga watt speed, or not the giga, the giga frequency speed for Wi-Fi. The good news about that is that the 2.4 provides much wider range for your applications, but the 5 gig gives you higher speed, but given the actual interface, I don't think speed is going to be much of an issue with this. In addition to that, all of these are actually PoE enabled. That's probably the most popular brand way to interface this. So if you're able to snake in an Ethernet cable, you could plug it right into the back and be able to bias these things. And similar to a phone, all these things contain a minimum of 4 SIP lines per unit. And as you move up to the 53, it will actually have 6 different lines. So when you look at this, it also has all the same capabilities in addition to being able to operate under H.264 VGA codec on all of these different models. So again, we have a 4.3-inch screen for the 51, but primarily our main runners here are the 52 and 53, which runs a 7-inch color touchscreen on this 53, and really a 7-inch screen which operates only on the buttons for the simple applications. Okay, so without that in mind, let me go ahead and move forward to the next slide. Let's dig into some of the particular applications. Now, let's just say you live in a high-rise apartment building with perhaps a door manager. Well, you could assign specific keys to access the management center. That means that this person could be the door person, or perhaps a front lobby in a hotel application, or perhaps a receptionist in a business application, need be. But you could assign this to wherever you want to do. Then we have a separate button for video monitoring. And one of the unique things that Fanvil does is being able to do video preview, so that one of the things you can do is push that and to really engage and turn on the video so that you can see who's actually at the door or at the entrance before you decide to press the key and allow that person to get in. Under normal SIP calls, you have to engage in an actual SIP conversation, and in many cases, you may want to see who that person is at before that person comes in. And obviously with this key here, you can actually answer a call and be able to engage in a conversation, because not only are these units a video display with easy buttons, it is also a speakerphone giving you the ability to go ahead and have a discussion. Of course, the return key is pretty self-explanatory moving forward. Looking at this kind of gives you a quick video response where it actually shows the woman operating the X56A, where all of a sudden the visitor comes on the door, they come and call the button, the resident looks at actually who's actually at the front door, presses answer, and then the door basically unlocks, and you could then be able to open the door accordingly using the advanced function video preview capability of this specific solution set. Now, one of the things that you notice that most of these applications are wall mounted. We also have options that you can buy that also give you a desk mount as well, so that if you're in a front desk situation and 3/4 of your walls are taken up and you don't want to necessarily turn around, we also have a desk mount scenario where you can actually take these indoor stations and be able to display that on your desk. So these are nice little options that offer you the flexibility to be able to meet this, to do whatever you need to do. Now, in this, these are little flashing screens that gives you the capability. We have the 52 here, which gives you basically a fixed screen that gives you the ability to press on a call here so that you'll know who you'll be contacting and what extension they're calling on, as well as the fixed keys that I went to before. Once you upgrade to the 53, now all of a sudden, in addition to the 5 fixed keys you have below, you also have the ability to make a discrete call where you can call another room or have specific speed dial keys that are given to you here. Now, if you want to make a call, you'll also notice that we give you a dial pad key so that if this thing is connected to a PBX with an outdoor hosted internet, you could also make an outdoor key as well. So this is a very simplified key that's basically defaulted to speakerphone only, giving you that capability to go ahead and chat with whomever you want to do. But the difference is it's aesthetically pleasing for most home applications and many office applications too, depending on what your design is. You know, you'd be very shocked at how many calls that I get that actually call for a white phone or perhaps a gray phone or a red phone that sort of matches the interior. And you'd be surprised on just how subjective a lot of these things are that end up matching your specific design. And again, this is just another illustration showing what the difference is in terms of mounting and giving you all these identities up front and giving you access to really a whole interface that's really put into a flat panel design. As I mentioned earlier, one of these things that you can do is really dedicate this monitor to do security access. So say, for example, if you live in a high-rise apartment and you happen to want to monitor a security camera just looking at a specific parking lot. You know, you hear a car alarm going off, but you don't know whether or not it's your car or some other car. You know, here's a way to quickly take a quick glance at a camera to see what the commotion's all about. So again, you know, not only does it operate with the Fanvil video monitors as well, but it'll also operate with many of the third-party IP cameras as well. Now, in addition to security monitoring, you could also include an 8-alarm input interface. So what does that mean? Say, for example, you have a trigger or an alarm, and the great news about it is that the wall mounts, it also comes with all the wall mount hardware, all the screws that's capable, but it also has accessory wires that you can connect directly to the back of these displays, giving you very easy access to hook up whatever alarm leads that need to do to provide alarms to all of your different tenants or office workers, depending on what the project is. Now, one of the things in development is a D&D mode. For many of the people that are operating, or especially now when I'm hosting a webinar, I tend to put my phones in D&D because I don't want to be disturbed while I'm doing this. And you might have privacy moments in your residence or in your office, and you can click in a D&D mode where it silences all of the different calls that may come in, or silence your ringer in case someone you don't want to be disturbed during that time frame. So when it's enabled, you can enable it and disable it depending on what your particular needs are. Now let's go ahead and highlight these features in a quick summary. When you do that, one of the main differences is being able to offer you all the flexibility of an enterprise business phone into one compact design, specifically made to sort of fit more in a residential as well as an office, as well as a hospitality environment. And it contained all the classic HD audio input. As you notice on that spreadsheet, we support the G722 codec, and you can actually operate that in default speakerphone mode in all the different cases. And as well, it has built-in Wi-Fi, so that if you happen to have a Wi-Fi environment, you can go ahead and connect this onto your local Wi-Fi and be able to communicate to the network accordingly. Now, if you decide to do Wi-Fi and not use PoE, it also has an auxiliary connector so that you can connect an external, power supply, to this unit as well. So there's a pluses and minuses depending on what that type of interface you decide to use. As I mentioned earlier, besides the wall mount, we also have, pardon my cough, an optional desk mount system. And as I said earlier, very often if you have limited walls but you want it on your desk, you could actually buy this optional desk mount from one of our distributors that are available to you, and you can go ahead and buy this desk mount option, giving you the ability to mount this display right on your desk and have all the same capabilities. It won't be defaulted with the box, but out of the box comes with all the wall mount hardware. But if you want to do it on your box, you'd have to purchase this option. Now let's talk about, instead of just the video, it uses both interfaces on both the HD audio and video identification. As I mentioned earlier, the video is supported by VGA quality, so you get good quality and quick response in the video, as well as support of HD audio as well. When you talk about easy operating experience, we have in both cases for the 53 as well as the 56A, you can operate it just by simple buttons located below that are marked with icons, or you could set up speed dials. And this just shows you the variances of the different screens that'll be shown to you, so that it gives you a lot of the flexible capabilities beyond just the default screen. And the great news about the Android device is that it gives you the capability of being able to load up your own Android applications so that you can run whatever specific Android to run on these devices as well, which is really nice. Speaking of Android, the operating system that we're loading on these platforms is Android 9.0. This is the latest release from Android. And what this does, it gives you the capability of loading many of the new applications that are available out there. Most of them require version 8.0 and above, so that now you're armed with all the latest ones, and as well for quite a while in the future to be able to load all the specific applications on Android, and giving you the flexibility to use this system as you see fit for your specific project. Now, I did talk a little bit about Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi systems 2.4 gigahertz has been around for a long time, and it provides the widest access, but many people may be limited to just 2.4 or perhaps 5. The 5 is only limited to just using the Android version, but the versions 51, 52, and 53 only support 2.4. You know, that's going to be around for a long time, and I suspect that if you need or just limited to 5, then the Android is what you're going to have to wait for. We don't have a specific delivery date yet for the 5 gigahertz version, but once we get that, I can inform Julie, and she can go ahead and forward that type of information to you. Now, beyond just the classical button or the face interface here, it also provides sensors in the back that gives you wire access to perhaps door sensors, vibration sensors. It does a lot of little emergency type of notifications so that it'll get triggered and you can go ahead and display all the different backgrounds that you want to do as well. So all of these things are made available to you in all 4 of these different applications. Now let's talk about application scenarios. I'm going to go from a very macro environment going down to a real micro environment. And in the macro environment, I want to show all of our different SIP endpoint units that we use here that can be used in many different things. Take, for example, the Fanvil X210, which can be used in a management center or perhaps in a front lobby, which could be supplemented by key entry systems here that could be used with an RFID card that could be used for perhaps parking garage entrances and things like that, or perhaps door entrances. Either way, you know, these are all the different peripherals and solutions that Fanvil provides to the marketplace. And of course, the theme that we have here as well, you could also outfit the internal office of the communities with either a one-to-one intercom here, an indoor station here, or perhaps even a thin line phone here, showing all the different applications that you have to really meet where SIP meets the person moving forward. Now rounding down into an apartment complex, it really boils down to be the same thing, where you can go ahead and actually have, you know, in the front lobby using our phones, devices to enter the building, and obviously to use our indoor stations within each of the apartment buildings. Now, those that are really lucky enough, you know, many people work on private residences. Now, private residence is probably one of the largest growth areas where you see video being incorporated in many of the door keys. And if you happen to have an IP camera, it may be compatible with some of our indoor stations so that you can actually have a video preview if you go ahead and look at it, as opposed to looking at your mobile device all the time, to see who's at your front door or at your villa, and be able to use these things and outfit any of these extensions into any of your particular rooms that you want to go ahead and call for. So that gives you an idea from a very macro to really a micro environment. And this hopefully gives you a good overview of what we bring. And that's the last slide that I have. So what I'll do at this point in time is really pass on this solution case back to Julie, and she could be ready to take it on from here.
Thank you very much, Tommy, for that wonderful presentation. And yes, it looks like we've got a couple questions for you. Let's get started with the first one. Is there a range provided on each Wi-Fi phone?
A range provided on the Wi-Fi. Now, on the Wi-Fi application, the 2.4, I mean, I don't think that there's a specific range, because with Wi-Fi, there are so many obstacles that can go in between. I mean, in general, Wi-Fi is something that most people have throughout their building. And so you would have to have at least decent Wi-Fi range for wherever you decide to put this. Now, you know, if you install this, it has to work very similar to your PC or perhaps even your mobile phone. So that if you look at your PC where you want to install this and it only has 1 or 2 bars, I would highly suggest you maybe put in an extender to be able to extend that range to give that Wi-Fi capability to have at least 3 or higher bars. The reason why I say that is because sometimes people can walk by or have an obstacle, and when you do that, it really cuts off the range. So it really varies a lot when you talk about range, depending on the type of environment that you're in. You know, whether it's a steel building, it's a wooden building, all of the ranges have a different range. Now, when you look at the opposite end, if you want to use PoE, now keep in mind that PoE has a definite range of 300 feet, and that's something you can measure. If you want to extend Ethernet range beyond 300 feet, you could also need a repeater to go beyond the 300 feet, but that's pretty much standard. But with Wi-Fi, it's a very different depending on the type of atmosphere you put that in.
Thank you very much, Tommy, for that. I appreciate it. Next question here. Regarding the video footage, where does it get stored so that we could, you know, access it?
The storage isn't necessarily being stored. Now, take, for example, if you have a camera and you show it somewhere, the storage does not happen within the unit itself. There's not enough memory in the actual piece. What this is, it's kind of like a peephole where you want to go ahead and take a look at it. You can actually see who's at the front door at that moment in time, right? Now, there must be some sort of a backup system within your building or company that stores all of this video with a lot of different disk drives. But what this display does, it gives you a little peek in to say who's really at it. Now, I'll take, for example, you know, I purchased a Ring system at home, right? And when I take a look and see who's at the front door, nothing's being stored on my phone, but where it does get stored is really the central, you know, storage unit that I subscribe to that hosts all of my different storages. So if I need to go and archive it, that's where I need to go.
Thank you very much for that, Tommy. Next question here for you. Regarding the different colors of units, what is the minimum order quantity we would have to submit to do that sort of thing?
Well, you know, you being a partner of us, I think given the end customer, they would have to buy whatever you want, you know, since you know you are a distributor partner of Fanvil, you know, that really is your decision. You can go ahead and entertain whatever units that you want to sell out, but we depend on partners such as yourself to be able to stock up on these units and to be able to provide these type of units to your client base.
Thank you very much, Tommy, for that. Next question here for you. Does the video have an app as well for phone access or remote access if you're not at home?
Yeah, as of today, the only units that we provide are the actual desk mount and wall mount units. The good news is that there are actual companies out there, I don't know the names off the top of my head, that provide mobile applications for those specific type of apps. I don't have that, but with respect to Fanvil, we're right now, as of today, we don't have a mobile application which gives you that ability to load up your smartphone and say, this is what I want to do, and let that person in. This is more of an interactive case where you have to be there in real time to kind of interact with it. But there are other companies that do provide that, and we're actually working with a few of these companies to see whether or not there's any complementary pieces to make them a little bit more integrated. But as of today, that doesn't exist.
Understand. Thank you very much. Tommy, if we wanted to reach out to Fanvil to get some either customer service support or technical support, where would be the best place for us to go? A phone number, an email address? Can you provide?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have several different levels of support locally. I mean, the default with everybody is that everybody can go ahead and provide support and go to support@fanvil.com, right? That goes to a global ticket. You can open up trouble tickets. But where we differentiate is we also have local people here. There's myself. I'm based on the West Coast here in California that could provide some assistance to you, primarily more on the business side, also a little bit on the technical side. But we also have an SE that we brought on board. His name is Hector, and he's on the East Coast side. And I'll be more than happy to provide you contact information for him as well, so that between the both of us, we can provide a good level of support to kind of get you off the ground and point it in the right direction to come up with a final solution.
Thank you very much for that, Tommy. Last question here for you. Can you give us an overview on where Fanvil's products are manufactured?
Yes. All of our products, and in fact, probably 99% of all IP phone products worldwide are manufactured in China. We are exploring other manufacturing capabilities. Now, I don't know if it applies to these devices, these display devices, but I am aware that our IP phone capabilities, we're actually exploring locations outside of China into Taiwan as well. So those are our two manufacturing capabilities that can manufacture phones, but with respect to these display devices, this is something that's primarily manufactured in China.
Thank you, Tommy, for answering all of those questions for us today. And also, thank you to everyone for attending today's webinar. And if anyone has any further questions, of course, please feel free to contact your sales rep or email us at sales@microcomtech.com. And if you wish to view some of these products mentioned or shown here today, please visit us at www.microcom.us. And remember, this webinar presentation has been recorded and will be uploaded to our Microcom YouTube channel so you can view this webinar again. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Tommy, appreciate your time and all of your valuable information today. Everybody have a fantastic day.
Thank you very much, everybody.